Bed. Love.
Bed.
Bed.
Love. Beyond.
Bed, love, beyond. Bed, love, beyond.
Welcome to Bed, Love, Beyond, the podcast for the hopeful and the hater in us to discuss sex, love, relationships, and whatever's clever with like-minded people like you who are also in limbo with love like us. I'm Miss April.
I'm Jen.
And this is episode 135, Intel into Incels. But first, Daily Dish.
Okay. First of all, I don't know if y'all saw Married at First Sight. I know we kind of fell off with that. But here's the recap. If you missed it, close your ears for 5 minutes. At the end of the first, the last episode where they make their decisions, every couple decided to stay together. I was like, bullshit. And whoever does the editing is like, perfect, because they sit there and like, and you have that like long pause. And what will they say? We all said yes. Even me and Tristan, which we obviously all knew, got divorced. So fast forward to this week was the reunion. Amber, who was a blonde who felt insecure because Dave said that he preferred brunettes, is now a brunette. So they went first, and they were like, "Oh, are you guys still together?" And Amber was like, "I moved out," and she moved out because I don't remember. I think we discussed it like in the beginning that they both went to the same gym, and he knew that she dated one of his friends from the gym, but nobody ever said what that friend said about her. But whatever he said, he did say in the beginning that if I would have known it was her, I would have said no to the experiment with her. So even though he went through the entire experiment, he held on to that, and she thinks it caused issues. So she got mad about it one day and she left. And like, she ghosted him. Like, she was like, "Oh, you're going out with your people? Cool." And she moved all her shit out. And then like, I guess like she called him a couple days later and realized that like it was a mistake to do that and it was immature, and she wanted to like come back, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't think so." So they basically said that it would be best for the relationship not to continue, and she like kind of looked heartbroken about it. And I'm just like, really, dude? Like, you wore your emotions on your shoulder the entire time. Like, whether you believe in what the show's about or not, like, you don't put yourself in a situation like that. If you're doing it to get famous, you're gonna like do damage to your self-esteem and to yourself.
Right.
Like, if you know you already have a bag of fucking issues, then hang it up, dude. So whatever. So she goes on, and then we go to the next couple. They go to Psycho Killer and whatever her name is. I forget their names. I always forget their names. It doesn't matter. Well, they stay together. That couple that never fought. They were like, "Have you guys fought yet?" They were like, "No, we haven't fought." And they were like, "We're staying together. Obviously, we're happy. We haven't fought yet. Everything's wonderful." To get to Mia and Tristan, and apparently they stay together, but Tristan,
But she already filed for a divorce and ruined
the surprise. But apparently what happened was Tristan was like on social media, and there was like a video of his ex-girlfriend like in a bikini or something, and he was like ranting and raving about it, like, "Oh, look at her, blah blah blah." And Mia got like insecure about it, and she was just like, "Yeah, I think we need a divorce." Or no. She said something to him. I'm getting this a little screwed up. She said something to him, and he said to her, "You're not mentally strong enough to be in a relationship, and if you are going to continue to act like this, like if you're going to be like emotionally weak, we shouldn't be together." So she filed for divorce. And apparently now she's getting her life together on Instagram. And
on Instagram.
That's where everyone gets their life together. And she's like taking all these wonderful pictures. Not to sound fucked up, and I'm not body shaming at all, but she's like a lot tinier than I thought she was on TV. It was just weird. Like, they showed her in like a bikini. I was just like, oh wow, TV really does add weight. It's crazy. Either way, she was a pretty girl. A little batshit crazy, I think, but a pretty girl nonetheless.
And then too, a lot of people with pictures are, I mean, it's like
favorable.
Next level photoshopping.
Right. Like, is that really your body in the bikini? Who knows? But so that was that. And then they asked them like, they asked everybody like, if you had the choice to do this experiment again, would you? And Mia and Amber both said no, because they knew that they weren't mature enough, or like they didn't like clean up their baggage basically.
Mm-hmm.
So then they had an announcement, and Psycho Killer and the blonde girl who haven't had a fight yet announced that they were pregnant. And if anyone remembers watching it from the beginning, that was the first thing Amber said in like the fucking previews, was that she just wants to get married to have a baby. Yo, this bitch lost her shit. Like, she looked like, she's like, oh, we're pregnant. And Amber looked like someone like said, your grandma just got run over by a tractor trailer.
Oh, wow.
She was just like, and she legit said, what about me? And Dave looked at her like, yo, that's why you so fucked up, because it's really all about what you want. Like, you don't care about what anybody else wants. Or, you know, she's like, oh, I'm so happy for you guys, but whatever.
And the thing is, aren't most of these people like late 20s, 30?
Yeah, Amber is like 37 though. Amber and Dave were like 37. So I understand her need for like urgency, but
I was about to say, like as far as like emotions and baggage, like most people don't have their baggage together by 29 or 28.
I remember when I was with the, I think it was Carmen. I remember I was with the 7-year guy, and it was like me, Nubia's husband, and Carmen and her boyfriend at the time. And I think it was Carmen who made the announcement. And we're like, oh, let's all have shots and like celebrate. And we're like, what are we celebrating? Why are we celebrating with apple juice? And they're like, Carmen's pregnant. And I don't know why, but I like started crying hysterical.
Really?
It was really weird. And I was like, I'm really happy for you. I just don't know what's going on right now. And they like all looked at my boyfriend and they were just like, yo, you know, you fucked, right? I mean, we were together for a long time, but I was like only like 25, 26. I was just like, yeah, whatever. So, I kind of knew where she was coming from, especially being from like 37, but like it wasn't your time to have that conversation, chick.
Yeah.
And then Tristan, this is the part that you'll find interesting, which I sent you the article. Tristan started crying because he said he didn't realize he was going to be like so judged for being a colorist.
Like he didn't know people were gonna call him that, or he considers himself.
No, he's like,
he didn't know people were gonna accuse him of being one.
That. He's like, off of a 3-second clip, he was like, people came out of nowhere attacking me, and about, he's like, I love my family, I love me. He's like, I love being black, like, and he was just like, he started crying. I'm like, all right, calm down, easy, killer. But apparently, there's another season coming, and then they're gonna follow all the people who are pregnant. I need to find a new show. Because the experts were like, oh, we are so happy about
I
this.
think they're going to Charlotte next.
Yeah. There may be some fine North Carolina men out there.
I'm going to Charlotte next. Because Charlotte's got a little nice economy going down there, a little cheap rent, cheap houses.
If you're in Charlotte.
Cheap and compared to New Jersey, New
Right.
York, Connecticut area where we live, and maybe wherever you live. To me, it's a 1-bedroom apartment for $800 is 2-bedroom for $800 is cheap.
Right. Anything exciting going on in your world now that I've updated the whole world on Married at First Sight, and they probably don't care?
Nothing exciting. Same stuff going on. Nothing special I could think of. But I have been watching. I've continued to watch Shameless. That's interesting as far as my little TV pop culture area of expertise. I watched the first episode of Mayans. That was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good. I'm going to watch the second episode tonight. I'm trying to... Shameless has 9 seasons, so...
Jesus.
I know Katie Seagal's on season 9.
Is she?
Mm-hmm. That's the season that's on now on Showtime.
Oh, it's good that she's eating.
Yeah, so... it's such a good show, and it's getting like, it's got its little deep moments in this season. I was like, ooh, okay.
Like, I just felt
like
something.
they'll hit you with a serious moment, and then it'll be the next moment is funny. So it's like a roller coaster ride of emotions on that show. But
all right, I'm gonna try to catch up with that one.
Still watching that.
My dad's like, Shameless is on. I'm like, okay, Dad. Good to know.
Yeah, so that's a good. I was all into that this weekend, and I watched all the Law and Orders. Law and Orders just had my pressure up. As my grandmother said, had my pressure up. I was literally like, the older I get, the more I yell at the TV. So I'm like, it's not his fault. It's his father's fault. He's like that. It's his father's fault. Like, I'm literally yelling at and it's so funny. Like, John is so used to it. He's just laying there. And then we go to the bar and we come home. He was like, yeah, put that episode back on. I need to see what happens.
Oh, my
God. You
God.
didn't even see the beginning. How you want to know? But I was just, like, it doesn't even faze him. He doesn't even, it's like I'm not yelling in the middle of the floor.
No, LaVinci's mad at Olivia right now. Every time she comes on, he's like, you're a
What'd she
bitch.
do?
Because that last season when she
Oh, see, I didn't see last season.
Oh yeah,
That's
I told you the
whole
thing where she like got that girl killed kind of by accident.
And
she's huffing and puffing this season.
Is that what somebody said when Rollins said, you know what happened the last time we let a young girl walk out of here?
Yeah.
Because when she said that, I was like, what happened?
Shots fired.
Yeah, she said, you know what happened the last. She was like, I'll take her home. When she was talking about the girl. The border. Or from the border. Yeah.
Well, that's a really good segue because Law and Order is the reason for today's episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
that one.
I was watching this episode and I was like, what is this about and what's happening? Sorry, I don't mean to be chewing in your ear, but Smarties are fucking delicious. And you little kids are not getting any of my Halloween candy. And basically the episode was like about, I don't remember how it started. Like
he burst the man supposed to be pizza. Well, they didn't order pizza, but he knocked on the door. He opened the door. The guy burst in, rapes the girl, and calling them Chad and Stacy. It's a couple in the house, knocks the man out, rapes the girl, and he's calling them both Chad and Stacy. Then he does it again at another apartment. Same deal. They somebody knocks, they open the door. It's a lot of little lessons in Law and Order. First of all, like, y'all gotta learn. Like, sometimes we're all the same, but sometimes culturally we're all very different. A lot of folks I know, a lot of black folks I know, if I don't know you coming, I'll sit right on my couch like I don't hear the damn knocking. And I don't hear the doorbell. You gotta call me, tell me you coming to my house. I will not move. These people opening the door, you're not looking out of the peephole or nothing. You didn't order no damn pizza. What are you opening the door for? I don't care if it's a doorman.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if the doorman made a difference. Because
he was like, oh, I figure it's okay, but nobody called you, told you somebody, you didn't invite nobody over.
Right.
Nobody called you and told you somebody on their way upstairs or this person is downstairs. They trying to go upstairs. No, I'm looking out the can I help you? Like, I'm like chain on the door, something. These people opening the door. Mm-mm. So the episode goes on and, they were like, oh, Ice-T got arrested today and released. Some dumb shit over the bridge. He was driving like a McLaren. That's probably why they pulled him over. Probably. It was unregistered also. They said not paying the toll.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Leave Ice-T alone. Mm-hmm. They're like, and then he went to go do the Law and Order episode where he plays a cop.
Don't you go across the toll every day? Like, come on, guys.
All right, so I digress. So Ice-T's like, oh, it's an incel. And I'm like, are they making this shit up? Like, right. So I go to Google, and this is the Urban Dictionary definition. It says incel, a.k.a. involuntary celibate person, a person, usually a male, who has a horrible personality and treats women like sexual objects and thinks that his lack of a sex life comes from being ugly when it's really just his blatant sexism and terrible attitude. Incels have little to no self-awareness. Even when they see other ugly, quote-unquote, men with girlfriends, they consider these men to be tricksters who have somehow beat the system and can get women despite being cursed with unattractiveness. In other words, they're respectful to women and women are attracted to their personalities, but incels can't comprehend such a phenomenon. They believe that women owe them sex and many of the more extreme incels like to spend time in the incel communities on the internet coming up with ways to make women have sex with them, often involving genocide of people of color, genocide of Chads. Chads are the men who have sex, taking away the rights of women from raping them and having sex with women's dead bodies and other horrid things, disgusting things. They can't understand that this is precisely why women want nothing to do with them. So they call the men who are the good-looking men who have an easy time getting women allegedly Chads, and they call the women that lust after these men Stacys. Mm-hmm. So then there was like another article, and this was from April of 2018, and it said, "Why are we talking about this now?" So it goes into a story about how a 25-year-old man drove into a group of pedestrians in Toronto, killing 10 people, injuring 15. He was identified as, I won't even bother saying his name, it doesn't matter. And he was confirmed as an incel. The Facebook post on his page was found saying, "The incel rebellion has already begun. We will overthrow all the Chads and Stacys. All hail the supreme gentleman, Elliot Rogers." So the only part that I'm having a problem with, no, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Not the only part. I don't understand why they're involuntarily celibate. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
And before we go on, let's just identify Elliot Rodger was the kid whose dad was like a assistant movie producer, and he killed the kids at the college and the sorority girls and the 3 kids that was in the dorm, or he just killed like a bunch of kids on the college campus in California.
But they were also people who had turned him down, correct?
I think it was something like that with the girls,
right? And
that one of the kids had admitted to stealing something from him. One of the young men he shot.
This was also a Law and Order episode a couple seasons ago.
Mm-hmm. And he had a manifesto that he wrote and posted it, and the parents tried to stop him. But when the mother saw the manifesto, and he had emailed it to the therapist and other families, this is Elliot Rogers. And I was reading an article that said the parents saw the manifesto and started racing to the college. And when they heard the news, they knew it was him based on... They just had a feeling. That's why they both jumped in the car and started racing to the college, trying to do something about it, and it was pretty much too late. So this is who they hold as their esteemed leader.
And did he kill himself, or was he just arrested?
Because when the police, I'm assuming when the police shot at him, they just hit him in the hip.
Right.
Amazing that when you actually commit a crime, you don't get killed, but if you do nothing,
right,
you could be like dead from fear. But here's a kid who killed 6-7 people, and he just got shot in the hip.
Right.
He basically killed himself.
So there's like a whole group of these people on Reddit, and they talk about all the different things that, like, how they feel and how they feel like, you know, women, you know, have done them wrong. And it was really scary to think that men would go that far. And we all know men who...
And they went so far, Reddit kicked them off.
Yeah. We all know men who are like, oh, women are the reason for my downfall. You know, but it's crazy to think that they would go as far as like raping women as if they deserved something.
Right.
Like
that they are supposed to give them.
Where is your moral compass at that point?
Because when I read all these, every article and everything I read was pretty much the same information, the same thing kind of getting repeated over and over. But I mean, looking at it, I see the profile of a sociopath.
Oh, absolutely.
Basically, I mean, these people, it's just, and it seemed like, you know, when you think of sociopaths, psychopaths, people like that, they usually, you know, tend to be narcissistic in a way that they think they're God's gift to women. So it seems a little opposite. But in a sense, these people are displaying narcissistic traits because they feel like the world is kind of revolving around them. And they only put themselves in environments, these online communities, where everybody agrees with them. Yeah, you're right. This is what women are. Everybody agrees. Everybody's in agreement with each other. They think they're right. And no self-awareness is basically, you don't think you're wrong.
Right.
Which these are pretty much, I mean, it sounds narcissistic to me. You're right about everything. None of this has anything to do with you. It's everybody else's fault. Is all women's fault why you feel this way. And looking at, like, they, was it Vice did like a little piece on this guy, and it was a lot of similarities with him and Elliot Rogers. Mom's paying his bills, he doesn't have to work. Elliot Rogers' parents paying his bills, he doesn't have to work. And it was another couple articles I came across with enabling parents.
Right.
And to me, that's where it starts. That's the
Absolutely.
baseline. Something mom and dad, and it doesn't mean that because you're a sociopath or because you have mental illness, it's your parents' fault. But Elliot Rodgers shouldn't have had $5,000 cash to buy guns and bullets, and you're not doing what we asked you to do. You're out here acting crazy. You're refusing mental health. At this time, he had a therapist, but it was at a time there was a time when he was refusing mental health services.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting $5,000 cash. You can have this credit card for gas and food and essential items. I'm not giving you $5,000 cash. And I'm assuming if he'd had a credit card and bought a gun, his parents would have been able to see the credit card bill and would have known he purchased a gun. So that was the benefit of having cash. But mom, this kid that Vice did if you Google like incel, you automatically see the Vice. Or mom? Why
I think I put it on Facebook too, and I'll repost it on the page.
Mom, why are you paying for him an apartment? Why?
Right.
You too scared for him to live with you?
And did he have a job though? Didn't he?
No, it said he didn't work.
Okay, just
and
in
his
the Law and
mom
Order
was
episode,
paying.
he worked like a delivery thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that kid, Elliot Rodgers had like a BMW and shit.
Yeah.
His videos were so creepy.
It's just like, it was another article I saw. Parents, paying the bills and they live there and don't do nothing and don't have no job, and it's like everybody you're home all day in your online community in your world where everybody's like, yeah, death to women.
Right.
And
how do you ever want us to appreciate you or like you if you already hate us?
You won't even leave you behind from behind your computer screen. And I read another article. It said 20s. I think it said early 20 to 35 white males.
Yeah, that's what I read.
They all fit the profile of a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
That might be one reason why don't nobody want to date you. But every article tended to mention white, privileged, racist, narcissists, self-image issues, inferiority issues, death to people of color, sense of entitlement. It was all pretty much the same profile. Every article you read.
This article was talking about how they're that it's not okay that we sit back and do nothing about it. Mm-hmm. Like something should be done about it and something should be spoken about it. That if you don't, they said that we need to focus on treatment. Basically, that not only are these people like, obviously depressed, but they become very suicidal. And with suicidal, there's correlations of like aggression, and that's found like with their violent behavior towards women, mm-hmm. and also their thoughts of like a mandatory sex quota by the way of sex bots or government assisted trysts with sex workers. And they said others have argued that inceldom is inherently a part of the rape culture and that men need to be taught how to be more nurturing. Still, others have focused for the need for difficult and uncomfortable conversations about the way that young white men are socialized long before they find their way to male supremacist corners of the internet.
Mm-hmm. And it was in the same article that was talking about the Elliot Rodger thing, but it seemed like it came from that, I guess, that it's a law in California that says if a person is a registered gun owner, and somebody, like I guess a friend or family or whoever thinks that they're a danger to somebody or themselves with the gun, that they can go ask a judge for it to be taken from them.
That's
and the person
good idea.
The person can obviously appeal it or fight it, and the NRA fought it. They said that it's taking the rights away from responsible gun owners, that people might go report them over a misunderstanding. Listen, if I have an argument with you, if you're a gun owner and I have an argument with you and we argue, yell, scream back and forth, I'm not going to leave your house and go down to the courthouse and say, Jim might shoot me because we had an argument.
Right.
Now, some people might, but you know what? People do that with everything. People, not all women, but and maybe some men too. But folks run down to the court getting restraining orders over a little misunderstanding or a little argument, and you either get the restraining order granted or you don't get it granted. Right. Or people run down. Sometimes, a lot of time, it's women. They get mad at the child's father. They run down and put child support on them. The court is already being used. It's the same thing. If I feel like you're a danger to yourself or somebody with a gun on you, go down to the court, talk to the judge about it. I don't understand why. I guess the NRA just feel like they expected to fight that, but I mean, it is a good thing. That is a good thing that came out of that. I'm
reading
assuming.
Reddit right now. I hate like reading long things. I'm trying to see if I can skim this. This guy, it was the name of the thing was called Incel Tears, and he said I'd like to talk about my experience as an incel. And said, "Hi, all. This is my first time posting to this community, but I thought that as a former incel, I could provide some words for all of you. I guess I'll start. It all started my second year in college. At the age of 19, I had just experienced my first breakup with a girl I had been dating. I was still a virgin at this time when most people were well into the hookup culture. For me, the shame came from the constant perfection that I was missing out on this grand aspect of life, something that was spiritual and necessary for well-being. Also, the constant reminder that men were supposed to be well versed in sex in order to be a quote unquote real man didn't help either. I cried in the car a lot because of what I was, a virgin. Immediately, I tried to date a girl I could talk to and failed miserably. This really spiraled me downwards towards the depths of inceldom. I became worryful of my looks and was extremely intimidated by anyone I thought was better looking than I was. I also became resentful of women, also thinking to myself that life would be better off as a girl or the girls didn't have to worry about getting laid. I ended up pushing away so many potential friends. I'm not going to go any further, but it got a lot worse. I want to know. I have no idea what changed. Maybe it was the fact that I got into a nearly fatal accident and was rushed to the hospital. Maybe it was because I just realized that things needed to change. I don't know, but one day I decided to focus on myself. I started working out and picked up a few hobbies. After a month of this, I started realizing that, hey, maybe I was one of the good looking guys. And what a better way to put these looks to use than to go into Tinder. I downloaded the app initially because I thought it would feel good knowing that someone found me attractive enough to swipe right. And I was right. A few swipes had me feeling like a star. I started getting some practice talking to girls I matched with, went out on a few, and yes, eventually met a girl who would take my virginity. She was the nicest person, no regrets here. The change was almost instantaneous. After that day, I found girls magically were more comfortable around me. They laughed, they flirted with me. I cannot describe how quickly I went from being awkward around girls to being a regular pro after losing my virginity. Anyways, that was more than 2 years ago. Today I'm preparing for my career in law, and I'm regularly dating without the help of Tinder. I feel like almost a normal person. He goes on to say that he found a girl who was willing to have sex with him, and he did have a lot of like struggle and social failure. And he says, to go easy on incels, give them some time, save your harassment for the ones that call for violence and rape. Those guys are assholes, but most of all care. These guys need someone to believe in them. I don't know. I'm not really about babying anybody. You know what I mean? And I get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I didn't wake up one morning and be like, oh my God, I'm beautiful. I need to go out. And like, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like you are who you believe you are to a degree. And if you want to believe that you're ugly and unworthy of love or sex or any of those things, then that's the projection that you're putting out to everybody. And if you're writing about being an incel and about how women don't want you and how you can't get laid, then that's what's going to happen. Like, no one's going to change all that. So
I think too, I heard song one time, well, the rapper Jadakiss said it. He used different wording. You can search for it and look it up and find the wording he used. He used it in a different context and I'm using it. But he said if you want to hide something from somebody, put it in a book. And here's the thing. School's not going to teach you everything. Your parents are not going to teach you everything. Sometimes parents get it right. Sometimes they get close. Sometimes they don't get close at all. But as an adult, if you say to yourself, I have a hard time meeting women. I have a little social anxiety. Go out into the world. If you're going to be on the internet, go on the internet and find something that's going to help you. Go talk to somebody. If you feel like you may know somebody at work, and it might be uncomfortable, but you know what? If you're trying to do better, if you see a guy at work and you feel like he's a fairly nice looking guy or he's been in a long-term relationship, ask him for advice. Even if you just say, sometimes people talk more if you just start a conversation with them. So if you're kind of cool with somebody and he's in a relationship or he dates a lot, Like, ask them, like, where do you go when you meet women, or you know, where are you meeting these women? What do you say when you walk up to them, or are they approaching you, or like sometimes if you just start a casual conversation with somebody, the person will tell you, drop a few gems on you.
Right.
But like when you're sitting in the house and you've taken one little, like somebody mentioned on our RV mentioned on our Bed Love Beyond page, society. But you're taking one little sample, one little aspect of society and using it to blame all your problems on it. Oh, these women are dating men who look like models. Nobody's dating a fucking model.
Right.
Who? I don't know anybody whose husband or boyfriend looks like anybody in a magazine. I don't know anybody whose wife looks like a model in a magazine. Models don't look like they look in the magazine in real life. And it's like, when you don't know that, by the time you're, when you're hitting 30 years old and 35 years old, you don't know people in magazines are airbrushed, man or not. Men,
Right.
women, whoever. Everybody is airbrushed and photoshopped. Nobody looks like that. Like, I remember seeing a picture of like Tyson Beckford in Whole Foods with like patches of his beard missing, and like he still wasn't a bad looking guy, but he's like short and like,
Yeah, I heard that. He's not that.
he's like a little small man, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a small guy, it's fine, but like, he's not a superhero walking around. You know,
If
what
you
I
tell,
mean?
he's usually shot from like looking up.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, these people are human beings, and you've taken one little aspect, like society praises what quote unquote good looking people. Hollywood praises these people. They're in magazines, they're on TV, but it's all an illusion. And it's like, at some point in your life, you have to know that.
Right.
The most beautiful people in the world take off their makeup and they look like everybody else. At some point in your life, somewhere in your mind, you have to wrap your mind around that these people do not look like that. You can't take this one little aspect of society and twist it and turn it to make it fit your narrative. That's what these people are doing. They're looking at pictures of people. They're looking at people walking down the street, and you're creating a narrative around these people. You don't know these people.
But, oh, she didn't look at me. She thinks I'm ugly.
Oh, she's with him and he's handsome.
Right.
You think he's handsome.
Like,
How do you know he doesn't have low self-esteem?
he could be gay and that could be her bestie. Like,
Right. How do you know he wasn't 300 pounds and he
Right.
started dieting and going to the gym and got a different haircut? And
Right.
got a little wardrobe change. And now, I mean, you don't know. You cannot judge people and you don't know their story. And it's like, the guy that gave his story, okay, you asking us to give these people a chance, but they have to give people a chance also.
right. Absolutely.
You're walking down the street, you don't know these people. You're actually creating a story around these people's lives. And you have no idea she's pretty and he's good, handsome, so they found each other. You don't know what the hell these people been through.
But you know what? Some of these people, I feel like even if they had good friends that said, like, dude, like, you are an awesome person, but like, if you do this, and this, which may like kind of turn women off, or, even turn
Right.
men off if it's a woman, like, that's more of a universal thing that men or women like, and you do the opposite, and it's not about like what you're into or what you like. It's usually like a personality thing.
Right.
Like people who are like super stubborn or like, whatever, like that's not an attractive quality. So if you're walking around like mad at the world about something, like kind of just like, all right,
And every example of an incel you see, from Elliot Rogers to the Sandy Hook kid. I mean, I don't think they were calling him an incel at the time, but he probably was.
But if you think about it, that was kind of what happened with the kid at in Florida at at Stillman Douglas. Like he had a fight with his ex-girlfriend and he got mad and he threatened the new boyfriend or something, and I don't think he went to kill her, but like it was out of anger off of something that happened with someone he was dating.
Right. And basically, I mean, when you see these kids that shoot up the school, they're basically awkward, isolated, bullied, low self-esteem. They all pretty much fit the same profile. And if you skip shooting up the school, okay, you end up on the internet hating everybody and women and blaming everybody for your problems. But somewhere these kids it was a disconnect somewhere.
Absolutely.
And somebody missed it. Or they were going to the professionals and they weren't the right professionals. Or mom and dad is enabling. Somewhere there's a disconnect somewhere, and it's just to the extreme. And because, like, where is mom and dad to say, you're not going to sit in my house on the internet all day?
Right.
Get up and get a fucking job.
Right.
Like, change the Wi-Fi password. I mean, seriously, like,
these kids are so smart now these days. They'll break into that shit and
if you that smart, you should have a damn job then. if you that smart, you can break through the security, then your ass need an IT job.
Something I feel like it maybe is social media. I definitely feel like it's social media and the internet, because growing up, we had just started getting the internet like in high school, I guess. Mm-hmm. We had like AOL, and like we'd go in chat rooms and talk to people. We didn't know who we were talking to. Mm-hmm. Could have fucking been serial killers. Who knows? But like we were very like whatever. But we still got up and we're like, fuck this. We're going to the mall with our friends. We're going to the movies. We're doing this stuff. These kids now are like, don't leave the house. And like, I haven't been in the like mental health field for that long, but I feel like now there's this constant switch like to do like cognitive behavioral therapy to help kids build self-esteem, when that's something that should really be done at home.
Yeah. And words like, and parents like it has to be somewhere. Things have to change. Like, you cannot keep, it's some things we can take with us that our parents, little gems our parents gave us, but it's some things you have to do different. It's 2018. It's not 1960.
Right.
Oh, my mama did it with me. Okay, but it's 2018.
Right.
Like, you cannot, like we've talked about it several times before. Stop telling little girls that the boy bullying her because he like her.
Right.
Stop saying fat, skinny, ugly, pretty. Stop using those words. Those words are heavy, and those words weigh heavy on kids. Even if you're talking about another kid in the class. If your kid come home and tell you, oh, they was calling so-and-so fat, right then and there, you need to address the problem with fat.
The lady
What is fat? What does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, right then and there, you need to address it with your kids. What fat? What's skinny? What? Because if you use the word, even parents at home saying, I'm fat, I gotta lose weight, I'm fat, I gotta, like.
Kids are mean.
Yeah.
Kids are so mean.
You have to start at home with addressing these terms. And when your kid go out in the world, they know what's going on.
Right.
Because, like, don't even use the word at home. Like, some people are so be up in arms cursing around a kid, but you comfortable saying fat and skinny.
Right.
You comfortable saying ugly and pretty.
And if you're saying fat and skinny and ugly or pretty at home, that kid's going to school and saying it to other kids.
Saying it to, and they saying what they think or what you've portrayed to them, or
right.
That fat, skinny, ugly, pretty is. So y'all worried about saying fuck shit in front of the kids.
Right.
But meanwhile, you're not worried about those words, and those words hold more weight.
Mm-hmm.
A curse word is a curse word. Nobody cares about that.
Right.
But curse words don't hurt. But when you start talking about those kind of words, that's what you really need. People focus on the wrong thing. And it's like, your kid shouldn't be 30 sitting at home unemployed doing nothing. What the fuck was they doing at 20?
Right.
What was they doing at 25? And if they're 25 on home unemployed doing nothing, well, what did you tell them when they were 16?
Right.
It's not an option in my house. It's not an option.
No, it wasn't in my house.
It's okay if you unemployed, but you better be emailing that resume. You better have a license or a certification or a degree. And having a hard time finding a job and sitting around unemployed on the internet is two different things. Yeah. So it's like, it's not an option in my house. You're not going to sit in my house with free. I don't care if I got to change the password every day. I don't care if I got to turn this shit off. I go to the movies. I got a job. I go to the movies and watch what I want to watch. I go to a friend's house. I got friends. You better go find some. Use their Wi-Fi. I shut everything down. Like, the kids are too comfortable with this. Shut up in my room. Shut up down in the basement on my computer all day.
Yeah.
Somebody created the comfort level for you to be able to do that. We're not doing that in my house. Mm-mm. You're not going to be comfortable sitting around.
Well, things have become so personal laptop, personal phones. Mm-hmm. So a kid can just go sit in his room. Like, our computer was like in the middle of the living room. Mm-hmm. I mean, at one point it was in my brother's room, but we'd all be in there like using it. Right. But like, that was where there was space. But I mean,
And then you
It's
gotta have
it should be like in a communal area.
Right, you gotta have these family spaces. It's like we sit and have dinner. We sitting at the table.
Right.
You're not taking your plate in your room, going over here in the corner
Sitting
somewhere.
in front of the TV,
it's
not
like
talking.
when somebody is ice or head, I've seen kids in the restaurants with headphones. Nah, we ain't doing that.
Listen, if your child is autistic and he's wearing headphones and you gave him an iPad and you want to go out and enjoy a meal, I get it.
Right.
But if he's a typical child, he needs to fucking participate in regular conversation.
Exactly.
How was your day? What are you learning in school?
Mm-hmm.
Who are your friends? What are you doing with your friends?
And you could tell because the kid took the headphone off. What? No. I put the headphone back. And the thing, it was even more sad. I sit and see adults sitting across the table from each other on the phone.
Right.
I'm like, well, y'all could have stayed home and did that. What you went out to dinner for? And it's just weird. And it's like, even if I want to look something up, sometimes I won't take my phone out. Because it's just like, this is wrong. We shouldn't be doing this. We showing them how to be.
Right, exactly.
You can't be sitting on your phone at the dinner table and get mad when your kid do it. You're a hypocrite. You can't do that.
My phone now has like an option that if you turn it face down, it will silence like all the notifications. So like, let's say I were to go out, like I would just turn it face down and then like, check, make sure everything's okay. My mom didn't call or whatever, but I don't know. When I first met my boyfriend, he told me, he's like, I have a real big pet peeve about people using their phone like on dates and at dinner. And he said that he's like walked out of like first dates in the middle of dinner. And they're like, what's wrong? Where are you going? He's like, well, obviously you got something to do. I'm like, you're a prick, but I get it. I'm like, I get it.
Why waste any more time if this is what you're showing me?
Right, day one.
5 minutes into, what else do we need to talk about? But then sometimes nobody's ever told them. You might be the first person that pointed out to them. Like,
right.
Maybe everybody else is just doing it too, and they,
I know there's situations where parents, for whatever reason, aren't able to provide the proper levels of what a child needs at home. But I feel like that if you are one of those people who like a teacher or, the librarian or whatever, like you have a really important job, and it's not just to like have a job and work and do what you're doing and like you give homework. Like, I'm not saying that we should baby these children, but some children really do need nurturing because they aren't getting it home. Like I've run into like lots of families where, they were never nurtured, so
right,
they just think that walking around with the chip on their shoulder, and displaying that in front of their kid is okay. And I'm just like, please don't I don't know where this kid. I don't want this kid to know where I live in 10 years because I know he'd be like the first one to come shoot my shit up. Because I can tell he's headed on that path,
And it, like you might be as a teacher or a counselor or therapist, the first person to come along and tell this kid no.
Right.
Because some parents don't feel like they, parents get is another phrase or another myth. I give my kids all that I didn't have. No, you need to tell your kids what you didn't know.
Right.
Giving them things is doing what? Half the time these kids don't even play with what you give them or don't even pay much mind to it after a while. Like giving them things, this is time you spend with children, time you spend talking to them. Just giving them things is not doing anything for them. It's not doing anybody can give a child something.
Right.
A stranger off the street can give your child a toy.
Right.
I mean, giving your child things is not teaching them anything. It's not spending time with them. It's two different. It's not the same thing. Of course, you want your child to have nice things, enjoy their childhood, and have toys and things to play with, and whatever. But I mean, people have to stop this myth with they think giving their kids material things is making up for a childhood of things they didn't have. It's not. You just create more problems.
Right.
It really is creating more problems. But
the scariest part about the incels thing is the whole, like, the want to commit violence against somebody and thinking that it's okay. Like, God forbid, like, I'm sure I've, like, turned a few people down, if they were to, like, come around and be like, I'm going to shoot you or rape you or beat you because you've said no to me before and you made me feel worthless. It's like, dude, really? Like, nobody asks women like how many times they were rejected. Right. Like, we're not going around like cutting off men's penis or anything like that. Like, imagine we were just Lorena Bobbiting bitches out there, like chop chop chop.
Right. Like she's like the last major, like she's the last big news story you really heard of that.
Yeah, but she wasn't it a domestic violence situation or no, or she cheated or something.
Yeah, he admitted that he used to beat the shit out of her.
Right. So I mean that's way different than just like her.
Like she just woke up one day and said, like, "Oh, you don't want to date me?"
Right.
Chop chop. Yeah.
Right.
And the thing, you're right, and I really don't, and that's part of like, you know, like when I was reading it too, I saw like I in my mind I compared it to like, let's say if you needed a medication and you look up the medication and you saw they tested it on 2 people, it works.
Right.
You would be like, whoa, you only tested 2 people?
Right.
It's 1 billion people on this planet. You only tested 2 people and you telling me this medication worked? It's the same thing with these people. 2 women turned you down.
Right. And now what?
2 relationships didn't work out. It's millions. You have millions of other people out in this world that somebody might like your ass, but you chose to focus on this little small sample of people. Nearly no sample at all, but you choose to focus on 2 people or 3 people that turn, because these people are not out there trying to date numerous people.
One of the things that the guy said in the recovering incel article is that he went out and he got hobbies. Oh, what a valid idea! Like now you're into something. You have something to talk about. What do you do all day? I don't know, play Fortnite. Like, really, dude?
Right. I'm just on my online forum with the rest of the low self-esteem having women hating people.
Talking about
hating women.
Raping women. And
right. And how much the 2 women that turned us down hate us. And like, you're right. Like if you went out in the world and talked to another women whose husbands of 20 years left them, women whose boyfriends have cheated, women who trusted some man with all her heart and soul and found out he was fucking his coworker. Like if you went
gay.
out, right? If you like women whose years wasted of their life and you know they want to have children and time is ticking and all these things. Like if you went out into the world and met these people, maybe you wouldn't be so self-absorbed. Like some people want to be self-absorbed and self-centered anyway.
Right.
Even though they know what's out there in the world, even though they talk to other people, they know that people have problems. They're just gonna be like that anyway. But if you're saying these 2 or 3 women turned me down, now I hate all women, and I just sit at my computer all day and get my bills paid by mom and dad and talk to other people who hate women, like, you're basing this off 3 women. You are not living in the world.
No.
You are living in that online community. You are not living in the world with everybody else. And it's almost like reading these things, I gotta be honest, made me angry.
No, it made me angry, but it made me scared too.
Because I'm just like, you don't live in the world with the rest of us, dude. You in a basement, you closed up in a room in the dark with your computer on. You're not in the world with everybody else. You don't know what people are. You know, you sitting. It's like this thing they do where they like, it's almost like watching porn. They just like sit and look at mad pictures of male models. It's like they do some kind of like binge on male model pictures. I was reading that in one of the articles. What? And I'm like, dude, come on. Like you're looking at photoshopped airbrush pictures saying this guy has a better life than me. How do you sound? Like you're not looking at regular women marry regular men.
Right.
What? Like I can't think of a male model. Okay, maybe David Beckham. Maybe, you know, an athlete that turned model. Like athletes are supposed to have those kind of bodies. You know what I mean? Like what male model is freaking married?
There was this article saying that male sexlessness is rising, but it's not for the reasons that incels claim. Like it has nothing. They're saying this article was based on the fact or done research that it had nothing to do with the fact that people aren't good looking. It just has the fact that like people aren't going out and people aren't getting married and there's sex is sex, but people aren't getting married. People aren't procreating. Those rates are like dropping increasingly, and it has nothing to do with being unattractive. It's just people are just keeping to themselves, and it's not
right. And women are getting married later,
right?
And you know, and it's like, what does it have to do with people of color? What does that have to?
I think I read something that said like they think that people of color, like Asians and African Americans, can find love easier.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know. I don't know why.
Ask a 37-year-old black woman that makes six figures how hard it is, how easy she finding love right now. Come on. Like
But
black women over 35 are unmarried, and people are telling them go date outside your race because black men ain't waiting around for you. They married already.
right.
Probably to somebody that's not black. Like, people are literally telling black women this, is like, they not. If anybody should be in a goddamn incel group, is them. Like, I'm 37 years old, black woman that make $100,000. I can't find no man.
Right.
If anybody should be an incel group, is them. Like, I'm a black executive and I can't find a man because I make six figures and I intimidate all the men I meet. Get out of here. Like, those should be the incel group right there.
It's so just.
But it's like it's such a. It's not logical. Their way of thinking is not logical, and these people are being coddled and enabled by their parents. And to see that, like, if somebody's doing these things, it's up to you to stop it from going on in your house. If somebody got their own apartment and they work and come home and sit up with their sex dolls and shit and watch TV, then fine. There's nothing you could do about it. But when it's going on in your house, like, you have a responsibility to do something about it. You do. Like, and it's crazy because, like, I sit at work sometime and a lot of the guys I register that have drug problems and they go into the drug program, or they go into, or they have dual diagnosis, mental health and drug issues. A lot of these are very, some of them, I would say a good percentage of the men are very, very handsome. I mean, what I consider handsome, but what is, like, in general considered handsome. Nice thick hair and good bone structure and strong chins and these things that people call handsome, and a lot of them are, and their lives are obviously not perfect.
No.
So it's like, but you don't live, so you don't know that. You're not out living in society to know. Like, you found perfect pictures and you said, these people out here getting all the women, these perfect pictures I found of these male models, I can hate them because they're out there getting all the girls. These are not regular like. And when you see men and women, like your co-workers, nobody is married to supermodels. Nobody. Everybody just regular people.
So, fun fact. Incel, the online community, was first termed in 1993 by a woman named Alana. And she created the website in order to discuss her sexual inactivity with others. And then eventually she realized she was queer. Jesus Christmas. And so she gave the website to somebody else. So I guess she said it was definitely, she goes, at first the website was definitely not a bunch of guys blaming women for their problems. That's a pretty sad version of this phenomenon that's happening today. Things have changed in the last 20 years. So apparently that's what it was at first. Just somebody, like, talking about how they weren't getting laid. And then the incel community took it in and made it something completely different. Mm-hmm. And they did say, I just read that, they said a lot of these incels are diagnosed with Asperger's, depression, and body dysmorphic disorder.
I saw it was another article, had a whole big, the Vice article said the guy had 30 diagnoses.
Jesus.
The guy they did the Vice article on. 30 diagnoses. It wasn't 30, but it was a lot.
Right.
Probably close.
Yeah, they said there's been like 4 mass murders in the United States that have been due to incels. And that is, the incel communities have been widely criticized by media and researchers as violent, misogynist, and extremist. Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on.
Yeah. White supremacist racist.
I'm trying to see if I can find like an incel manifesto. I want to kind of just see what we're bitching about. Oh, here we go. Okay, so there's this cartoon and it says, being a man is harder than we've than we're given credit for. Rigid expectations for toughness of body and mind, cause all untold damage to all and those we love. Oh, sorry, cause untold damage to us and all pop-ups and all those we love. I feel like that's written wrong. And the same norms cause us to distance ourselves from even more from one another, further closing us off emotionally. Time for the pain to end, brothers. The solution is clear. Let's go kill all women until the government assigns us girlfriends. What the fuck? Rise and shine. The world is doomed. Wow. There's an article in here also called Forgetting Bill Cosby. I don't know what this website is, but when I Googled Incel manifestos, that's what came up. I don't know.
And it seems like, you know, the every article, everything you read, their manifestos, I looked through a little, I just scanned really quick because it was 137 pages and there's no way in hell I was reading it. Elliot Rodgers' manifesto.
Oh, I just pulled it up.
But the bottom line is that people become submerged in this life to avoid the truth. It's not everyone else, it's you. And as long as I can be in my little online community, and as long as I can be around other people who saying what I'm saying, I can avoid the fact that it's me, not everybody else. That's basically what's going on.
I'm sorry. I just got to the paragraph where Elliot Rodgers says, for my 3rd birthday, we went to Malaysia for vacation. Fuck you. I ain't even left the fucking country for my 3rd birthday.
His mother was from there.
And he said he was born in London.
His mother was from there.
Jesus. Part 2, growing up in America. Like, he really went in. And I don't know if he ever gave a reason in any of these paragraphs. It's very long-winded.
There was one point he said, why does this black guy have a girlfriend and I don't, if I'm descended from royalty in London and he's descended from slaves?
Oh my God.
It's like people walking through the world with their own narrative of what's going on in the world, and they block out any other logical thought or reasoning. And these are people, and I can imagine, I would bet money, these are people who probably are, if you test them, they're intelligent or you know, consider themselves intellectual people. But I would, or they do well in school, those kind of people. But I would challenge you to say, how smart are you? How intellectual are you when you don't consider no other reasoning but your own, or reasoning that's similar to yours? How smart are you? Because I can tell a lot of these guys, you sitting up here, you're writing manifestos, you have a degree, you're you know, on your little chat, and you're good at computers or whatever the case is. But I would challenge to say, how smart are these people? Because people like to throw the term highly intellectual around. And it's like, I don't know if you're that smart if you ward off all reasoning and all logical explanations just to fit your narrative of life. I don't know if you're as smart as you think.
As fascinated as I am reading this, I don't know that this should be online. Like, I don't know that we should be glorifying it. I don't know. Every other line is that I got everything that I wanted and people weren't nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
My mom gave me everything that I wanted. I had Nintendo 64. I had this. I had that. But I wasn't as cool as the other kids. Guess what? I wasn't as cool as the other kids either. I put hairspray in my hair. And some boy called me greasy all the time.
Or I'm wondering, is it, I mean, it could be, it may not be glorifying it. It may be, here's a look inside this person's mind, because this could be what somebody similar to him is thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe other parents who's sitting up here giving their kids the world and the kids are still wilding the fuck out. Maybe you need to read this kid manifesto. This might be what's inside your kid's mind.
Fuck the parent handbook. Give them this.
Mm-hmm.
What to expect when you're expecting. Oh, no. Once I reach the Del Playa Street, I will dump a bag of severed heads I have saved from my previous victims, proclaiming to everyone how much I have made them all suffer. Once they see all of their friends' heads roll in the street, everyone will fear me as the powerful god that I am. Fuck off. Yo, I'm sorry. Like, listen, if you feel unloved or unliked, this is not the social worker in me talking. This is just a regular female. Like, I am sorry, but This is not okay.
Get over yourself.
Get the fuck over. Yeah, get over yourself. Like,
and then too, it's like I started a daily mantra with my son, and he repeats after me, and he says, I wasn't born to walk with my head down and my mouth shut. I was born to be powerful and great. I am King Kai.
aww.
That's what we say every day. And he repeats it, and he puts his little exclamation marks where they're supposed to. He created that. And it's not so. And it's like, that's because, unfortunately, in this society, there's going to be a lot of people telling him, you're black, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not welcome here. But so it's like, you need, and it's not so he can be conceited or cocky, but it's so you know, like, you don't have to believe that. That's not true.
Right.
That's just what people tell you. It's not true. But here you have somebody privileged from the day you were born. Like you said, you were born in London. Privileged from the day you were born. Private school, fancy neighborhood, fancy house, fancy parents, whatever the case is. Or maybe his parents were self-made. It kind of seems like they were. Doesn't seem like his parents were super rich, but privileged.
Mm-hmm.
And privilege doesn't, and I think that I see a lot of white men online saying, I'm still waiting for my privilege card in the mail. Privilege is not always about money and power. Privilege is when you don't have to walk down the street and think, should I take this hoodie off? Am I going to scare white people? Is somebody going to call the police on me because I don't live here?
Right.
Am I going to get pulled over because I'm in this expensive car and the policeman don't think I should have it? Like, that's privilege. You don't go through that. You don't have that anxiety. That's privilege. And it's like, when I sit and look at people, you didn't need a mantra. You didn't need your mother to have a mantra with you every day. Not a mantra that told you that you didn't need to walk with your head down and your mouth shut because of who you are. You might have needed a mantra for your self-esteem. You might have needed a mantra because you were sad. But you didn't need a mantra to say, because of your white skin, I want you to have self-esteem. You were handed the world, and you built your own narrative around that. And it's not to say that kids who have privilege because of money and power don't also need encouragement and built self-esteem built and whatever the case is. But there are people who just don't have what you have, don't have the opportunities you have. And these people, of course, don't realize that. Like, there's people who do not have the opportunities you have. There are people who do not wake up in a nice warm home and get $5,000 of spending money and go to whatever college and go to the best schools and have all these opportunities. And I know it doesn't have anything to do with love, because somewhere there was a disconnect somewhere, but maybe the parents didn't handle their divorce well, whatever the case is. But
this is so terrifying.
These people, these incels, seem like they have the worst life ever. And I don't think they realize that it's people with worse life than you. It's people that are homeless and starving. It's people that don't have any parents to do anything for them. Like, so I don't think these people realize, like, you know, it's like you're creating a bad life.
Right.
You're creating a bad life. You wasn't born with one. You created it. And unfortunately, when you needed help snapping out of it, somewhere somebody dropped the ball. But
people are like, I'm looking at the pictures when you look up incel, and it says like incel to Chad, like, you know, guys who like were kind of nerdy in high school and then beefed up and, like, you know, whatever, like got better looking or whatever the case may be. Apparently, as racist as this sounds, Indians are called curry cells. I can't. I don't know.
It's just somewhere when raising a child is not easy, and when I don't know something, I go right to my Barnes and Noble app or my Amazon app, and I look for a book where I can find out, or I Google it, or I look for a way. It's no excuse for ignorance. It's no excuse. When people around here talk about when people are talking about people of color and all these racist stereotypes and all these things about feminists and gender equality, when people walking around here in the Me Too movement have all these ignorant things to say about things they don't know anything about, and people say, well, they're ignorant to it. Is no excuse for ignorance. If you sit in your house and you don't understand why you have low self-esteem and you don't understand why women don't date you, go pick up a book. Maybe you'll see some traits of yourself in there. Maybe you'll see something you're doing, and some therapist or psychiatrist or somebody that wrote a book can help you. But if you choose to sit and marinate in negativity and negative energy and just become resigned with hate, that's a choice you're making. It really is a choice.
I encourage you, just out of curiosity, to go onto the internet and look at some of this stuff. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like I live in another planet right now. It's just really, really sad to believe that, like, people are so, like, I don't know, just so caught up in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're really, really just overly worried about what they look like and what other people look like is the more importantly.
And the emphasis placed on looks goes to
yeah,
show you
they say that the
Chads
Chads have like the square chin, good bone structure. Like, they keep showing all these guys with these like square chins, and you know, it's so crazy.
Is literally a narrative that they've created in their minds, and then they just found followers that said, yeah, that's a Chad. Yeah, we hate them.
A barber tells this shy insurance man to grow a beard, and it ends up transforming his life. Wow. I mean, beards do it sometimes, but if you still have a creepy, shitty personality, I don't care how great your beard is.
You can have a beard all day. If you an asshole, it doesn't matter. You might get a number, but you get to that dinner table and you a jerk, it's not gonna matter.
Or you have nothing to talk about, or you have like no, no, I don't know. This is just crazy. It's just really, really sad. But I don't know.
I just think a big part of it needs to stop at home. And
Absolutely.
The cutoff point needs to start at home. You shouldn't be 35 getting financially supported to sit on your computer all day. You shouldn't have been 25. You shouldn't have been 20, 19. You know, like somewhere there was a disconnect somewhere, and mom and dad just got comfortable letting it ride. And somewhere it needed to be shut down. Now we not doing this. You're not going to sit in my house on the computer all day doing nothing. You're not going to sit in my house and not go to no school or get a certification or a license or have some sort of ambition or get outside of your head. You better go get some therapy. If I got to pay for your therapy, fine. But you better damn well go and get you some help and listen to what the therapist is telling you. It's gotta stop. It's like moms and dads. I think this stuff really starts from when these people are children.
This is so terrifying. I don't know why I'm so bothered by it. And the further I fall into the rabbit hole, I just don't understand why there's an entire community. I don't really get too involved in communities of everything. I mean, the only thing that I was like part of on Facebook is the kid Junior who was like shot in the Bronx. Like when it first happened, like I kind of wanted to see like who they were catching and what the situation was, and like even with that, I feel like people like become attached to a situation and it becomes their life. Like now these women, I really need to leave the group because I want to like curse every one of them out.
There's some kind of term for that. Licensed clinical social worker. What's the term when people attach themselves to something because it makes them feel important, but it didn't actually happen to them? It happened to somebody else.
That wasn't on the test, April.
Like, I only studied was on the test. Don't ask me nothing else.
I know that wasn't in the review.
There's some kind of, I don't know if it comes from Freud. I think there's some kind of term for people who attach themselves to things that make themselves feel important, but it didn't happen to them. It happened to somebody else. But
I don't know.
They attach themselves to like, oh, my cousin's a doctor. My nephew's an NFL player. Okay, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm gonna try to Google it.
There's some kind of term for it, and a lot of people do that. It's like I don't feel important. I feel like I have minimal contribution to society or whatever the case is. I'm gonna hop on this bandwagon to make myself feel better instead of put your energy into doing better for yourself. That's where people need to put their energy.
Yeah, I mean, the people in that group were like, we're going to go to the court. We're going to wear T-shirts, you know? And I'm just like, listen, I think what happened in the Bronx was a terrible situation, you know? And it was terrible because America had to view it as well on videos over and over again on social media. But at some point, how much energy are you putting into this? Like, people are like, where can we stay in the Bronx? Like, I want to be there for the mom. I'm coming from Indiana. Like, it's a nice gesture. It's just like, you have nothing else going on in your world.
Right. Because the mom has people around her. Like, she
right.
doesn't.
And they're like, oh, she looks so sad in the most recent interview. We need to be there for her. Like, this lady needs to grieve.
Right. And no, you don't need to be here for her because she has a family. Like, she has a family that's there for her. You don't need to be there for her. But I think too, social media is a way people are getting too caught up in other people's lives.
Narcissism came up. Avoidant attachment disorder. I don't remember that being part of it. But anywho, yeah.
People, social media do allow people to get too involved in other people's lives and get too wrapped up in what somebody else is posting and how their life looks. But at some point, you have to become adult enough to say, I know this isn't real.
Right.
I know this is Facebook. There's people on Facebook happy as hell, and next week they're getting divorced. Not happy as hell, looking happy as hell.
Right. I hope they do charge for Facebook because I think a lot of people would jump the fuck off it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I sure would. I ain't paying. I got an Apple iTunes membership. That's all I'm doing. And Netflix. I ain't adding nothing else.
Right. Like, I mean, I don't think social media has done anything good for our environment. And now that there's these fucking communities like, oh, I'm 28, I haven't been laid yet, I must be an incel. What are you guys about? Oh, you want to kill and rape bitches? You're right, we should. Mm-hmm. What?
Mm-hmm. The only thing I think, and it's sad because it does overshadow, there's like people, like a friend of mine who has she created a business for herself on Instagram with natural hair products and doing hair expos and like she literally is a self-employed person, and there's a lot of other people
right
who their Instagram page, and you know, you can do good things on social media, but then the bad stuff like overshadows it. It's right. Like, you know, once you become addicted to it and you're addicted to how you look on it and how people perceive you and this whole illusion
Snapchat filters
creating on it, and all that overshadows the fact that people have created businesses from social media where your overhead is, of course, much lighter than having to do commercials or run ads in a newspaper or super expensive things that you can't afford. If you could pay $3, $10, $20 to Facebook to boost your posts or whatever the case is, that's more affordable for people to be entrepreneurs. But these bad things, it's like it overshadows the good things, and that's a shame. Because it does make, you know, the bad things make social media, it makes people cancel their pages or get off their pages. And I remember when you had to put the college, it was like a college site where you went to when it first started, where you put in your school and people from your school would connect with you. I remember that's what Facebook was. And it was a way, then it became a way you put in your high school. You put in your high school and college, and it was a way for old classmates to connect. I remember that was part of, like, you had to put it in when you was creating your profile. And that's what it was about, connecting with old classmates. And it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. You can start groups and do reunions, and you can see your classmates' family and their kids and what they're up to. And it turned into craziness, which, you know, not surprising, but...
Right.
But I feel like the bad things do overshadow the good when it comes to social media, and it's really sad.
Well, I think you have anything else that you want to add to this?
No, just that the bottom line is it's not everyone else's shoe. So for all of you out there blaming women for your problems, women are the ones that procreate. Women are the one that keep the population growing. Women make the world go round. Women are not your problem.
You came from a woman.
Exactly. Women are not your problem. The problem with a woman, I would guarantee the problem you have with women is with your mother. Your problem is with your mother. That's what you settle that, you'll probably be okay. But until you keep pretending like you got, your mother's perfect and you're the perfect son and your mother's the perfect mother, and keep dismissing whatever problem you have with your mom or your dad spread a lot of toxic masculinity in your house and you felt victim to it and couldn't live up to it or whatever the case is and didn't feel like you had to live up to it. If you don't want to settle those differences with mom and dad, you're going to keep running to the online community looking for validation, and that's not where you need to be. You need to sit down, talk to mom and dad, and figure your problems out, get some therapy, because it's not women, it's not the world, it's you.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something that when I saw the episode, I was like, what? Is this real?
Yeah.
But because there is such a high rate of suicide and things of that nature, I did copy and paste the crisis text line. So I don't know if you are an incel or you know an incel, and you feel that someone is in crisis, you could text START, START, to 741-741 anywhere in the USA, anytime, about any type of crisis. And the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 800-273-8255. I'm not 100% sure what the Trevor Project is. You can look into it, and I will at some point and get back to you. But that number is 866-488-7386, and that is my due diligence as a social worker, because I read the article about how a lot of the incels do have a high rate of suicide or self-harm.
I think the Trevor Project, I just saw that. I think it might be something to do with LGBTQ, I think.
Really?
I think so. I just saw that somewhere.
Okay, Google, what is the Trevor Project?
According to Wikipedia, the Trevor Project is an American nonprofit organization founded in 1998 focused on suicide prevention efforts among lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning youth.
Okay, so if you're LGBTQ, and you are suicidal, that would be a helpful line to call. But let us know what you thought about this incel. Do you know any incels? Are you an incel? If you are an incel and you want to come on the show and defend anything that we've said, we would love to have you. And if you think that we misspoke or any of those other things, definitely write to us at bedlovebeyond@gmail.com, or you can text us at 201-862-BED. And you can listen to us on Podbean, iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify. And next time you're on there, subscribe to us and rate and review and like us on all your social media accounts. We're at Bed Love Beyond on Twitter, IG, and Facebook. And Miss April is at Miss April Speaks, and she is at what's your feed?
Truth Complex.
A Truth Complex.
WordPress,
on WordPress
Facebook.
and Facebook. So that's it. I hope that you found this interesting. I sure did. Thank you, Law and Order, for sparking controversy. And I think that's it. Peace.
Peace.